Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. A'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lah wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lah. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wa nashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتى اليقين فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه. My respected brothers and sisters, may Allah's peace, His guidance, His mercy, His forgiveness and His protection be with you in this life, and the day we depart, we all depart from this life, this mortal worldly life, and we buried in our graves, and inshallah the day we will be taken out and brought in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on day of judgment, day of rising. Ameen thumma ameen. We will continue the topic of usury, faiz, the interest, and which is also in faiz is in Turkish, in Urdu it is called sood. And these ayat, today's ayat will be ayat number 276 and 277. These are 5 ayat, my respected brothers and sisters, in Surah Al-Baqarah, and then later on in other chapters there are many other ayat about interest, about usury, about sood, about faiz. These ayats remind us, my respected brothers and sisters, that the society is built on riba, on interest, does not enjoy the real prosperity, peace, security, or happiness among its people and in its system. On the other hand, my respected brothers and sisters, the society is built on charity, tolerance, compassion towards each other, and open-handedness, open-mindedness, open-handedness, and in which people do good for the pleasure of their creator, enjoy the social welfare, integrity, and cohesion among each other. Then there are those, my respected brothers and sisters, at all time, even when the prophets, more than one prophet was there at the same time, there were those who would not admit anything, and their reasoning sometimes is because of lack of knowledge, and sometimes because of self-interest in all matters. So inshallah we'll start today's program with the recitation and then translation and then tafsir of these 2 ayat of today. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات والله لا يحب كل كفار نثيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. صدق الله العظيم. Now the translation of these 2 ayat, ayah number 276 of chapter Al-Baqarah, the 2nd chapter of Quran, and then ayah number 277. Allah constricts and destroys usury, the interest, and increases the blessings of the charities. And Allah does not like persistently sinning disbelievers. Truly those, now the ayah 277, truly those who believe and do righteous deeds and regularly perform prayers and give zakat, they will have their reward with their Lord. On them shall there be no fear, nor shall they grieve. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. My respected brothers and sisters, now we come to the tafsir of these ayat, and we will take the first ayah in 2 portions. First portion is Yamhaqullahu riba wa yurbis sadaqat, means Allah constricts and destroys interest and increases the blessings of charity. The word yamhaq my respected brothers and sisters, means to eradicate, destroy, constricts, chokes, and annihilates, and so forth. Similar meaning. These ayat also affirm that the hereafter is not a long way away, my respected brothers and sisters. Nobody knows when is Qiyamah, nobody knows. And there are many types of Qiyamah. One of the Qiyamah is the day we die. That is a small Qiyamah. That everything which you had, you're going to leave behind, whether it is on halal or haram. Nobody is taking anything with them except their kafan. And there are no pockets in kafan. So it's a small Qiyamah. It's a small day, for the person, that when he is completely cutting every connection which he or she has with this life in this world, with all the loved ones. These ayat affirms that this life in here and the hereafter is not a long way away, and that the injunctions of Quran are timeless. Nobody can say that this is something was 1442 years ago and it does not apply today on me, especially. Injunctions of Quran, we need to know they are timeless and cannot be changed by anybody, by any time, by any government, by any scholar, by anyone. Even the Payghambar, in Turkish we call them Payghambar, and even the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and none of the Anbiya, none of the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were given the authority to change anything in Allah's words, unless Allah abrogated something and say that this is what the order for you is now. Only at that time. Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my respected brothers and sisters, uses the continuous. Look at the grammar of Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the continuous present tense. When He says Allah constricts out usury and causes charitable offerings to grow and increase in rewards, increase in the return from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then again says Allah does not love persistently the person who persistently disbelieves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and defy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and starts going into doing into doing the wrong deeds. So the continuous present tense is used here. So this is for all times, my respected brothers and sisters. And we need to understand Quran. The word yamhaq, my respected brothers and sisters, also means that Almighty Allah, this is Tafsir Al-Qur'an, says that Almighty Allah removes His blessing. Because if Allah's blessing is removed from something or somebody, that thing is destroyed, it's constricted. It stops growing, and it does not bring any benefit from it. So this is what Tafsir Al-Qur'an said, that Almighty Allah removed His blessings, His barakat, from on all dealings based on usury. All dealings based on usury. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu narrated from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, saying that even if the usury brings a lot of benefits, its ends are miserable. Means what? That even a person can survive and sustain and flourish and do everything on usury here in this life, but guess what? The life does not end when he kicks the bucket, his eyes closed. When he reaches to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will be questioned whether he was a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim, because all divine scriptures deny the using of usury. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that even if the usury is lot, its ends are miserable. It means that less in this world and completely wiped out on the day of in the next world, on the day of judgment. Anything which you have or you give from the dealings of usury, no matter what, how much you have helped somebody, but the earning of that money was from usury, it's going to be wiped out. All those good deeds will be wiped out. This is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, narrated by Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. The statement, my respected brothers and sisters, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Allah does not like persistently sinning disbeliever, it has a very deep meanings, my respected brothers and sisters, and you know better than I do. The statement, Tafsir Ibn Jarir al-Tabari said, the statement clearly indicates that those who continue to be involved in anything which Allah said this, don't be involved in it, and ayat about that matter are clearly defined in Quran, and there is no doubt about it that usury, interest, faiz, sood, and riba is one of the topic which is clearly defined in Quran as a violation of the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a person who continuously, after this ayah was revealed, if someone or a group of people or an entire nation or the whole world continuously stays involved in egregious wrongdoing, they are hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and no matter how much good comes out of it and how much money from riba is used for the benefit of people, it's not going to be accounted in that person's account of good deeds on Day of Judgment. And it's just, easy come, easy go. It will be completely wiped out on Day of Judgment. So efforts made for nothing. It's all gone, waste and vain. Evidently, my respected brothers and sisters, those who legitimize, at the same time, those who legitimize what Allah forbade already, and the Quran is still there, and its words and letters and its ayat are not being erased, astaghfirullah, na'uzubillah, they are still there. They can still be found in Quran. And if a person who tries to legitimize those things are deliberately violating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's limit and nothing else. If there is any other meaning from it, please help me. Please let me understand. And it does not matter how much that person who breaks Allah, who is in defiance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one thing, but in other things, he is not in defiance and he is praying and he is doing this and that. It does not matter, because he is defying one clear order of Quran means he is denying everything. Yes, we all make mistakes. If a person who is doing it by mistake, my respected brothers and sisters, Islam is not a mousetrap that you walk in and you cannot come out alive. Islam is not also identified by a dress code or the words we utter, but it is a comprehensive system defined in glorious Quran, and those restrictions or those allowances and those prohibitions must be followed. If they are mentioned in Quran, they cannot be defied. They cannot be defied by anybody, even by a prophet. The same ruling, astaghfirullah, na'uzubillah, would apply on a messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if he was defying the clear orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the divine books of the time, in this case divine book of Allah, in the last and final divine message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Qur'an. And the believers are supposed to follow all of it. The believers are supposed to follow all of the injunctions of Quran, and they don't have a right or authority to pick and choose what works for them, and what they don't like, they can just leave it. It is not their matter of choice. They have to follow, but to the best of their capacity, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have told us, fattaqullaha mastata'tum, that refrain from deliberate disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best of your capability. The best of your capability. Your capability is more than mine. Follow it. Earlier we studied, my respected brothers and sisters, in ayah number 208 and 209 of Surah Al-Baqarah. And I will give you the reason why am I talking about this ayah 208 and 209 of Surah Al-Baqarah. We have already studied it. It says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fid dini kaffa. Amanu udkhulu fis silmi kaffa. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fis silmi kaffa. ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين فإن زللتم من بعد ما جاءتكم البينات فاعلموا أن الله Azizun Hakim. The meaning of this ayah is, my respected brothers and sisters, that, oh, you have believed, enter in Islam completely and perfectly. Perfectly means to the best of your capacity and your capability. But enter in it completely. You don't have a right to say, I'll accept this and I'm not going to accept this. So enter in Islam completely and perfectly, and do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. Means people, those who pick and choose in Quran or Hadith and take what works for them, and do not take which goes against their wills and wishes, or their will and wish of their husband or wife, or this person and that person, then they have not entered Islam completely and perfectly to the best of their capacity and capability, but they are following the footsteps of shaitan. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. Indeed, if you deviate after the clear proofs have come to you, then know that Allah is exalted in might and wise, subhanahu wa ta'ala. To reject or deliberately not follow a part of Allah's order is equal to rejecting all of it. All of it, my respected brothers and sisters, wa ayadu billah. According to the numerous ayat and the authentic ahadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the interest, riba, faiz, sood is totally forbidden. Not only for Muslims. Pick up Torah, read it there. Pick up Gospel, you will find it that it has been completely denied. Completely denied. Legalizing or defending usury and build personal or societal life violates Allah's limits and it is denying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's clear orders which are there in Quran wa ayadu billah. We all make mistakes, my brothers and sisters, but look, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, that you have to enter in religion completely and perfectly to the best of your capability, and do not follow the khutuwat shaitan, the footsteps of shaitan. We follow footsteps of shaitan for two reasons, my respected brothers and sisters. We want to defy Allah, astaghfirullah na'udhu billah, wa ayadu billahi min dhalik, that we want to defy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our intention is to defy. The second is that we just don't know better. So what it entails, what it demands, is that we need to learn orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is no other source to learn the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better than Quran itself. And then after Quran is Sunnat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, you see, but the door, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful, my respected brothers and sisters, that in Surah Al-Imran, in 3rd chapter, ayah number 135 and 136, the most merciful, Allah the Almighty says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين إذا فعلوا فاحشة أو ظلموا أنفسهم ذكروا الله فاستغفروا لذنوبهم ومن يغفر الذنوب إلا الله ولم يصروا على ما فعلوا وهم يعلمون أولئك جزاؤهم مغفرة من ربهم وجنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها والنعم أجر العاملين. And those who commit an immorality or wrong themselves by transgressing Allah's limits. Those who commit an immoral act and wrong themselves by transgressing Allah's limit, they remember Allah and seek His forgiveness from their sins. And who can forgive their sins except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Nobody. And those who do not continue in what they have done while they have learned that whatever they were doing is wrong, their reward is nothing but forgiveness from their Lord and the paradise with rivers flowing underneath. They shall abide therein forever. How excellent is this reward for the doers of right deeds. Who are the doers of right deeds? Those who do not pick and choose in following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's order and follow everything without if and but. Without if and but. And we cannot, people like me with absolutely zero knowledge, we cannot follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's orders. We can't be in obedience of Allah until and unless we learn Quran and start following it. Khutwa means step by step. And the major things which we have to do, those are the first steps which we have to take. And abiding and refraining from riba as soon as possible is one of the steps which brings us closer to Iman. Closer to Iman, and it puts us at a far distance from shaitan. So we need to repent genuinely, my respected brothers and sisters, change our course of action, give up the wrong, and then know that Almighty Allah will forgive whatever we did in the past. If a person is dealing in riba nowadays, and he or she, there are so many things we will discuss that we can do, that we can pay off as soon as possible. It is our firm belief, my respected brothers and sisters, that there is no doubt in anything mentioned in Quran. If somebody has a doubt about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in Quran, and I just wanted to say this, that after last 2 weeks program about riba, about sood, about faiz, about interest, and explaining what usury is and all that, so many people have blocked me from my Facebook page. I received so many text messages where people have cursed, literally cursed, that what am I talking about? 1442 years old things I'm trying to establish today. Well, don't name your children a Muslim name. Don't marry a Muslim woman or a Muslim man. Don't call yourself with a Muslim name. Do not call adhan in your children's ear. Do not pray. Do not go for Hajj. Do not celebrate Eid. Do not fast. Because these are all 1442-year-old things. Why, when it comes to faiz and interest and riba and sood, we want to call it that it is something from older time, but then enjoy everything else of Islam. Let's not claim what we are not. And it is okay with me if the whole world cuts me off. But when we are discussing Quran, my respected brothers and sisters, it's not my choice. It's not my choice. I will be making my place in hell for saying things which people like to hear and which are totally against Quran. I have to say what Quran say, or just stay quiet, stay at home, which I cannot do because I will be asked, and you would see that one desperately need money to meet the criteria. We pay a very little towards the principal loan amount and keep up paying the interest only. Islam encourages those who can give, those who can offer, those who can give qard hasana to organizations or to individuals, any kind of charity, or enter in a business partnership in profit and loss, not to step back but step out, step up front and offer what you can, no matter how small it is. And that's why the system of zakah was established. If today in Muslim countries, wallahi thumma wallahi, if in Muslim countries, if every Muslim starts paying the zakah as he's supposed to pay, and ushur and khums, and all those things which Allah has made compulsory. There are two kinds of charities we discussed earlier. There is a mandatory charity and there is a voluntary charity. Mandatory charity is zakah, and voluntary charity where you give in voluntary charity for your heart's pleasure, as much as you want to, as little as or as more as much as you can pay. But zakah, my respected brother and sister, is one thing which is the fundamentals of Islam. And if that one system was properly established, not by these fake leaders of Muslim countries of today, not by these fakers, but if there was a true, genuine, non-corrupt Muslim a person, a leader who was ruling a Muslim country are selected as a leader of a Muslim country because of his qualification, not because he has more following. If the followers are as corrupt as he is, then he will always be in power, and that's the case. But if the zakat system, whenever it was established, the poverty level, there was no poor left. There was no poor left in a Muslim society. Not only that Muslim, but non-Muslims also. There were no poor non-Muslim found living in a Muslim country. And today, we are at the garbage can, and we are the beggars of the world just because of our leaders and not understanding the system of zakah and not establishing the system of zakah. They brought the whole entire Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on its feet, on its knees, not on its feet. We can't even have feet. We don't even have feet to stand up. They brought us to our knees, and our heads down. Instead of being down in front of Allah, is being down in front of the lenders. Those loans and profit and loss partnership under an Islamic system, economic system, lead to growth and expansion of individual and collective economy of the country, and moral and spiritual qualities of communities of humankind, Muslims and non-Muslim. While the outcome of interest, my respected brother and sister, and usury, riba and faiz and sood is nothing but selfishness, miserableness, callousness, and exploitation of the weaker party, and where there is only one who benefits from it is the one who lending you money. The outcome of the charity, my respected brothers and sisters, and because outcome of charity, how do you know what is the real outcome of charity? Is the satisfaction in your heart when you do a good deed and help somebody genuinely who was in need, and you gave them, and the feeling which you have at the time, that is the feeling I'm talking about. The outcome of charity is internal satisfaction and generosity and compassion towards the humankind, or even towards the animals, and that benefits all those who are involved in those acts. A society where the rich capitalize on every opportunity to exploit the poor and people in need, and in that society where the interest of common people, the interest of the common people is directly opposite of the interest of the rich. The interest of common people in a riba-based system is directly opposite of the interest of the rich people. A rich wants to benefit from it, he has to come into a profit and loss partnership and then lend money for businesses and agriculture and other industries and things like that. And everybody will prosper, and people will have a lot of opportunities for jobs, and there will be less poverty, and there will be less joblessness and less homelessness. Such a society does not have a stable foundation, my respected brothers and sisters. The society which is based on interest does not have a stable foundation, my respected brothers and sisters, and it always crumbles. You pick up the newspaper, it always crumbles under little or more economic pressure, and begs and get on his knees again, begging money from another on riba from another source. That society increase is spite and bitterness among people and the members of the society. It increases apathy, it increases indifference, and it increases untimely, it increases chaos in the society, and it disintegrates it and creates an acute strife and conflict among people. The rich is way up high and poor is way low down, and people are asking for their rights. They're living in the same city, they're living in the same environment, same society, and they're seeing this big difference between the class system. It's all created by lending money on riba and constricting the job opportunities for those who are poor, whether they are of a different color, of a different creed, or a different generation, but they are being discriminated against by taking the that by constricting their opportunities of self-development and economic development of those community. On a lighter note, my respected brothers and sisters, just came to my mind that they were two good friends and they didn't meet. They didn't see each other for a long time. After a long time they met. And one asked the other that how things are with him. So he told him that, he asked him that how is your business which you started with somebody in partnership, with somebody, you lended him something and you started a business with that man. So how is that business doing? The guy said that when we started business, I used to have money and the guy used to have a lot of experience. Now I have a lot of experience and he has the money. So we need to understand that an unjust system does not create anything but disparity. Anything but disparity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the other hand, wants to create nothing but justice and equality among people, and care and compassion, where people would feel each other's pain and they stand by each other. Needless to say that the proper planning for any business venture or anything which you want to do, a person goes out to a lender to get the money so he can have the house which his cousin has. Does that make any sense? But he does not. If he has an ability to afford that house, then he does not need to borrow money from anybody. He doesn't need to go to the lender. He doesn't need to borrow money from anybody. So a proper planning is study of supply and demand, evaluation, experience and execution of a project is a prerequisite to start any profit and loss business. That is basic economy, which I don't know much about. I'm not a man of economy. I never studied economics. Islam encourages this is Tafsir Al-Qur'an says that Islam encourages a riba-free society based on mutual sympathy and cooperation, because what this weaker and poor person of financial difficulties he or she is going through today, that table can be turned and you could be on the receiving end of hardship. That sympathy have to be in our heart, mutual sympathy and a spirit of cooperation, where the haves and the have-nots practice compassion and just and equitable cooperation in somebody else's bad situation. On the other hand, the riba, they utilize that bad situation and put that person into a deeper hole where he is already in, he or she is already in. The prerequisite of an ideal Islamic society is a genuine, clean and honest leadership, my respected brothers and sisters. And the question comes, where is that leadership? We don't have it. It is the duty of that government which is genuinely honest and is not surrounded by its cronies and just like these wolves and vultures surround on something, to just waiting for this person to go down so they start eating off him. So that person have to be honest, and he has to have a team of honest people. We have lack of finding one person. Forget about team. The people in genuine need, my respected brothers and sisters, it is the duty of that kind of person and that kind of team to establish free of corruption, zakat the collection and distribution system. Zakat collection and distribution system. The people in genuine need of support can get loans from zakat fund on temporary basis. It's not that we are creating couch potatoes. That zakat system will continue to support this person who has the ability and capability to work, but he chooses to watch TV and doesn't go to work. That person have no share in getting anything from any kind of support system. So those people are given temporary, the people in genuine need are given temporary help from the zakat system, where they can even pay off their debts and stand on their 2 feet. And once they stand on their 2 feet, they become part of zakat system, that they start paying back into the system of zakat collection so it can be distributed to other poor. The zakat funds, my respected brothers and sisters, are strictly limited to be used on elderly, on homeless, on genuine less fortunate, not the drug addicts or junkies. No, they can be treated from zakat money, and then they have to clean their acts up, and they have to start behaving and become a productive element of the society. And it says that it is, and the less fortunate, regardless of their age, a less fortunate person can be 18 years old, 20 years old, he can be 89 years old. So a less fortunate person, regardless of age, sick, downtrodden, destitute people, widows and orphans who have no means to support themselves, needy students. You would not believe that how much talent in Muslim countries is wasted because parents cannot send their child. They don't have income to qualify, enough income to qualify for loan, and they cannot send this child who wants to go for higher education and is very intelligent but can't. That child, he or she, cannot go because there is no system to support that child. There is no system to support that child. And zakat money can also be used mu'allafati qulubuhum, that those who have a softness in their heart towards Islam and Muslims, they are also eligible for zakat. The projects where only the deserving people benefit from, not masajid, that we give money to masjid to build to an organization to build a masjid. Zakat is for those who are poor and genuinely need help. A masjid, a rich can go in there, a person with moderate income goes there, a person who is jobless goes there, a person who is homeless goes there. So it can't be used in the masjid. And these are the limits established in Quran, that projects where only deserving people, remember, genuinely deserving people benefit from, not somebody who is related to the president of the masjid or a secretary of such and such government department. Because he's relative, he get money from the zakat fund. It's happening in Muslim countries. There is a lot of corruption in zakat collection system and zakat distribution system, and it has to be said. And that is an equal sin of, just like not paying zakat, that you got the money from zakat, but you are misusing it, and it is another major sin. And the same zakat system can be used. Look how merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. That zakat system can be used to pay the salaries of people, those who work in the department which collects and distribute the zakat. So people, those who are working in the department, zakat collection and distribution department, are not burdened on other people. They will be paid from the zakat money because they have been given the responsibility to collect and distribute the zakat. So this is briefly about zakat and collection and distribution and where the zakat need to be paid. Then that honest government and the rich individuals give loans from sources other than zakat. What are the other sources? Government put taxes, and then you have different kind of levies. You have passport fees, you have this, you have that, and then you also have sadaqat, where a person can choose himself whether that he is a millionaire but he wants to give only $1, and he wants to give that $1 to a relative of his, or he wants to give $1 to the government. Okay? And that trust need to be established by the government. People are looking, believe me, people are sick and tired of corrupt people in Muslim countries, in the ruling class of the country, and their cronies. Faces are exactly the same, my respected brothers and sisters. Our attitudes are exactly the same. The thievery remains as it was 100 years ago, but just the names and the faces change in the Muslim countries. There is no real change. And that is the problem, and that need to be addressed. The fairness and justice of the process, the money cannot be misused on those who don't need it, or on non-feasible and politically motivated projects. All over the world, my respected brothers and sisters, we hear and read about projects started and completed from public funds on political basis. Because so and so political leader lives in such and such village, they start a project there. From zakat money, from the sadaqat money, from the money of the poor of that country, instead of creating jobs and giving them a healthcare system, they rule with their knees on their neck and thumb on their nerves, and then use their money to support their cronies for political reasons. And you would see in most of the Muslim countries, that those wonderful roads, beautiful wide roads, some of them are even colored in different color. Green road, you know that there is a green road, there must be a prince living on that road. You know, the lights, the type and size of lights, the airports, and the power that leads to a prince or to a king or to a prime minister or president or his mama's palace, it is found in every nook and corner in a Muslim country. And then you name that country, oh mashallah, we are Muslim. Where is Islam? Where is Islam? Show me. And the common people of that country, you know where Islam is? When the common people living in that country are prospering, that's where Islam is. That's where the Islam is. And they are not under the weight of these mortgages by these few thousand lenders all over the world, and or the fools, those who bought unnecessary things using the money from riba. You know, those examples are everywhere, but not that the poor people and people, those who are supposed to prosper, are prospering from a system established by this wonderful king or wonderful crown prince or a president or prime ministers or this and that. None. Those examples are not there. If a person is prospering, he must be closely attached to that its political leader in power. Burden of interest, my respected brothers and sisters, makes it extremely difficult, often impossible for us to pay off the original loan. We resort to wrongful means, to corruption, to get money by hook or crook, to make money so we can borrow more, or we can buy another house, or we can buy another bigger, better, more expensive car, or take a third loan to pay the first loan and the second loan. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. What happened to the finance for the idiots, or finance 101? My respected brothers and sisters, in some cases, a lot of borrowing can be avoided by living within our means. You live according to what you make, instead of borrow money and live to show off and in competition with your cousin. We should curb the competition among people and people, those who are living around us, and we should learn how to tighten our belt. There are a lot of things we spend. If we are in debt, we should reduce those debts, and whatever we are buying from wherever we are buying, cut it down and start paying that guy who is sucking your blood, and you will be paid off, and Allah will help you to pay off that loan. If I open my eyes, Allah will help me in paying those loans. If I don't, then I'm drowning. As simple as it is. A considerable majority of us work hard with first, second, and even third jobs to pay the interest on the money which we borrowed. Having first, second, third job to pay the interest on the money. You're not paying the principal amount, you're paying the interest. Now we can deny the truth. How can we deny? Can we deny the truth enunciated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including myself, enunciated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I cannot deny the truth enunciated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that dealing in riba, interest, sood, faiz, and in usury decreases our individual and collective economic health. We can't divide it. We cannot deny it. Moreover, the Islamic voluntary charity, my respected brothers and sisters, and the social security system, Islamic social security system, invites the prosperous members of the society to spend within their means on themselves And it's not saying don't spend, but you should have earned that money to spend yourself, not go borrow and then spend on yourself or on your loved one. And then those who earning and spending on themselves and on their loved one are also encouraged through sadaqat, through voluntary charity, to donate the surplus, helping the poor and the needy of that community. I got to move on a little bit because we have 14 minutes left to finish. Sayyidina, a person is unjust, my respected brothers and sisters, is unjust and ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Cruel and wicked to humankind if he sucks upon the poor and makes money from them and uses their disadvantages to his advantage, and who cannot meet his needs because of the joblessness or homelessness or any other problem the person may have. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, my respected brothers and sisters, said that Allah does not accept neither the sadaqah nor the salah, the charity and prayers and hajj, and not even jihad of a person, not even jihad. Remember, let me repeat it again. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah does not accept neither the sadaqah, nor the salah, nor the hajj, not even jihad of a person who is dealing in interest, in riba. Wa'ayadu billah wallah. Sahih Muslim narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when someone gives sadaqah, Allah makes it grow. Even if it is a morsel of food, a grain of food you are giving as sadaqah to somebody. Like one of you raise your colt, you raise your horse, your colt, until comes a day when a day of rising, it's giving the example, using the example of day of rising, that you raising your colt, and then the day comes that it becomes as tall as the Mount Uhud in Medina. That's how, when you give something in sadaqah, in charity, in voluntary charity or mandatory charity, zakat, when you are giving it, it's like you are raising an animal, which is over the time, he will become strong and tall and big, and you will feel proud that this is what I raised. That's how you raise what you give to others. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further said in the second part of the first ayah, Wallahu la yuhibbu kulla kaffarin athim, means Allah does not like persistently sinning disbelievers. Means, my respected brothers and sisters, the reason Almighty Allah said that is because He accepts the believers to understand the injunctions of Quran and limits of Allah in all matters. That's why He said that. It's a warning for people that do not mend, do not jump, do not cross, do not violate, do not defy my limits, because I have sent the last and final book. No other guidance is coming. If this guidance says something prohibited, then it is prohibited. Nobody can change it. Nobody can change it. There are a number of ayat in the glorious Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows where the right and wrong and good from bad and benefits from harm has been clearly defined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In chapter Al-Maidah, there are many ayat in Surah Al-Maidah also about riba, and we will come to it inshallah if we live that long. It's 5th chapter and we are on the 2nd chapter now. So Al-Maidah, 5th chapter, ayah number 100, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that say the evil and the good cannot be equal. Although if the abundance of evil impresses you, the size of evil, or everybody is doing it so I should do it also, that evil might impress you, the size of evil might impress you, so fear the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, O you people of understanding, that you may be successful in your grave and on day of judgment. That is the success, my respected brothers and sisters. This life comes and goes, qabr, and then grave, and then day of judgment, my respected brothers and sisters. Then in Surah Ar-Rum, Surah Ar-Rum is the 30th chapter of Quran, in ayah number 39, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, and whatever you give of riba, means give and take of riba, of interest, of faiz and usury, to increase in wealth, will not increase with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Will not increase with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not even accounted as anything but bad. Is anything but bad. It's not accounted as a good deed. Even if you give half of it into zakah and the other half of it into sadaqat, it's not accepted. But when you give zakat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, from the halal means, from the permissible means, desiring the countenance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those are the multipliers, those who are going to work for you. Ulaika humul mud'ifun, that day of judgment, those will be the multipliers in your favor. The last portion of the ayah, my respected brothers and sisters, indicates that Allah does not like those who continue to deal in riba after these ayat were revealed, and that person remained a sinner in words and in deeds until he or she genuinely repents and give away his dealings in riba as soon as possible. As-Siddi, Tafsir As-Siddi, At-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, Al-Razi, and Sayyidina Imam Ibn Kathir rahmatullah alayh says that those who consume riba are not satisfied with the permissible and pure resources Allah has given them. If they look around, they will find resources, but they choose the easy route and go out and do it. We can pay a lot of our interest, a lot of our riba, a lot of money we owe just by tightening our belts, a lot of it, and not spending where we are spending. Now we're coming to the second ayah of today's program. Inshallah, we will finish in 6-7 minutes. And the ayah is the 277th ayah, which says, then truly those who believe and do righteous deed and regularly perform prayers and give zakat, they will have their reward with their Lord. On them there shall be no fear, nor they shall grieve. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about this life and then the next stage of life, which is qabr, the grave, and the day of judgment when we all will be undoubtedly standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, waiting to hear the verdict of our deeds which we have sent forth. Astaghfirullah Allah. Something which the heart shivers thinking about it. My respected brothers and sisters, in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises those who firmly believe in Him being the only deity worthy of worship. They obey all His command without a doubt and without if and but. They thank Him through prayers and they thank Him through zakat, and they appreciate His favors. Allah gives the glad tidings of the honor and reward He has prepared for them, and that they will have no fear in the grave, in here, or in the hereafter, and the questioning of the day of resurrection. Sahih al-Bukhari narrated from Sayyidina Abu Hurairah that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that Allah is good. He only accepts what is good and pure. So whoever gives in charity equals to a date, fruit, from honest and pure resources, Allah accepts it with His right hand and increases it for its giver until it becomes as big, as high as the heap of a mountain, at the summit of a mountain. Even if the date given, if you have the capacity to give in zakat a date, or in sadaqat a date, in voluntary charity a date, do it, and that will help us. In contrast to this example, my respected brothers and sisters, being involved in usury and interest and faiz and sood, this ayah presents the faith and righteousness, highlighting the essential attributes of the believers of the economic system based on zakat and sadaqat and permitted sources of revenues, not wherever the money can come from hook or crook, it's mine and now I can go and shop. The institution of zakat represents the foundation of a caring, sympathetic society, and supportive society which does not practice usury in any aspects of their life. My respected brothers and sisters, unfortunately for the last few generations, the image of zakat has faded. The reason of that is that so-called Muslim leadership cannot show any example of Islam in practice. Nowhere. It's not there. Islam in practice is not there. It is individuals, those who are going out and talking and presenting and practicing and avoiding and following and not defying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's limit. Those who leave impression. Our leaders have not left, have not presented or shown an example for Islam in practice for our younger generation. I don't blame East, West, North or South. But our leadership presented Taliban and ISIS and Boko Haram and likes and their brutalities, which has nothing to do with Islam. In the name of Islam, they come out and they are presenting an example. Okay? And they are being supported by these Muslim leaders. Where are they getting the money from? So, it is not, don't blame East, West, North and South. Blame our lack of knowledge and our understanding. Okay? So, last few generations, my respected brothers and sisters, have not seen Islamic laws, ethics or principle in practice even in their houses, shaping the daily lives of people and creating a healthy, respectful, just, virtuous and decent society. Our young generation has not seen that even in our own homes. Even in our own homes, they have not seen those examples. When we present those examples, you building generation. When you don't present those examples and everything is right and fine, my son, my daughter, go do it, then you are destroying those generations. They are not your loving child. We are part of their destruction. An ordinary Muslim does not know how much. This is a pity. An ordinary Muslim does not know that how much zakat must be paid and whom it have to be paid to. They have no experience on how zakat works. Our generation doesn't know. Our new generation absolutely is not aware of that how zakat works and how the economic growth and prosperity it creates. Zakat is levied upon by Muslim authorities. You have these corrupt idiots as our leaders, and you want them to lead a zakat, a system of welfare and security by them based on zakat and sadaqat. Zakat is levied at an yearly rate of 2.5% on liquid money and assets, 5 to 10% on crops, and 20% on mineral resources. This is just the basic thing. It is a duty rather than sadaqat, which is an optional charity. Zakat is a duty, it's mandatory. We don't know. The authorities then distribute the proceed among those in need in community and as widely as possible for the beneficiaries to meet their basic necessities and elevate their hardships. Those who are in debt, who are solvent or are insolvent, are helped through zakat money to settle their debts. We don't have a system, so we are not settling nothing, and the debt keeps growing and it's killing people. A lot of people I know, those who are so much in debt that they become heart patient and they develop heart problems and they die of heart attacks because of the debts they were in. Almighty Allah promises those leaders and societies that they shall have, those who establish zakat system, they are promised that they shall have their reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They shall have nothing to fear, and nor they shall grieve. That's let me just jump a little bit more. The younger generation see it happening all around them, that how, and they are frustrated, but they are frustrated from listening to these long-winded speeches every Friday, but no practical example to follow after the prayer finishes. Or there is no practical example from among the political leadership, so they can say, this is the guy, he's the real Muslim. I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm not talking about American leaders. I'm talking about Muslim leaders. Show me one. Show me one. They hear about God-loving, generous and compassionate people of the past, committed to worshipping and serving the entire humankind, but they don't get to see those people today. Those traits are nowhere around our new generation. They see the absolute majority of religious leadership is busy in fundraising and not providing means from those funds and resources of the job opportunities. Each and every doctor or professor or a lecturer or somebody who has a bachelor's or master's or PhDs, they are not willing to spend 1 hour a week as a volunteer in any institution, educational institution, or in a masjid as a volunteer to teach the younger generation in an environment where they are conducive to education. And then the parents and leaders curse the West. Honestly, the younger generation, born and raised away from so-called Muslim countries and those environments, especially the richer families, in some cases are better. Those who are born here, they are better and have more better value than those who are born in so-called Muslim countries. The character flaws, my respected brothers and sisters, I'll take 2 more minutes, I'm sorry. The character flaws are strongly denounced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, when somebody asked about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam from his wife, Sayyida Aisha, Ummul Mu'mineen, the mother of all believers, Sayyida Aisha radiyallahu anha, somebody asked, what was Muhammad? She says, khuluquhu al-Qur'an. That his example, he was an exemplary living Qur'an. Today you ask about a man from his wife, you would hear the truth. So just remember that. Bring that strong character. Cut down those flaws. Don't go out. Don't take these vacations. Pay your debts. Be happy with your families, with your children. And these character flaws, my respected brothers and sisters, are strongly denounced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No healthy society can exist under the leadership of such people which we have as our leaders, who in their grave and in the hereafter are destined to meet nothing but grief, affliction, and misery. And Allah is promising us, men and women, those who are on His path and do not defy His limits. Allah promised them that they will be la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. They will not grieve, they will not fear, and they will not grieve. By contrast, Allah praises them and promises those of sound character and better understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Quran and their better understanding of their obligations and their services towards Allah and towards the entire humankind, Muslims and towards non-Muslims, both, my respected brothers and sisters. أقول قولي هذا واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. I request from all of you to share these programs and similar other programs in your circle. Build a community, build a generation, my respected brothers and sisters. We will be asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our grave on Day of Judgment, what you left behind. You sent nothing forth. People like me, have not sent anything good before me to find in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّن خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِندَ اللَّهِ does not apply in our case. Astaghfirullah, na'uzubillah. We haven't sent anything forth of good which can help us in our grave or on the Day of Judgment. And we have not even left anything good behind us. So this is the question. We need to question ourselves. I need to question myself first. Please pray for me. And if I make a mistake, please correct me and educate me. We will make dua, and inshallah we will continue next week from ayah number 278. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب جهنم وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والفاتحة. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Salamullahi alaykum wa rahmatuhu wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us.